Good evening, sister.
Good evening.
Welcome on board. It's nice having you here in the studio of Naija 101 FM, 101.1 FM.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming all the way from the northern side of London.
London, yeah.
I so much appreciate your efforts.
It's okay.
So, can you kindly tell the people who you are?
My name is Sofia. I'm a gospel artist, and I've been doing gospel music for a long time.
Like she said, her name is Sophi-Yah. She's a gospel artist. Like you all know what we are known with and what we are known for. We always try our best to promote gospel music, especially at this particular time when it seems that secular music is having a kind of effect on gospel music. Because if 10 cars drove past you, 8 out of those 10 cars, they're playing a particular secular music.
Yeah, that's true though.
And not so many people want to listen to
gospel,
gospel music anymore.
Yeah, I think we, the gospel artists, we've got a lot of work to do. We need to do music or produce music that is appealing, that cuts across.
Okay.
You know, music that can be listened to by everyone.
Okay.
With good beats, good lyrics, and I mean, with all that, everyone wants to listen to gospel
We will
music.
get there one day.
Yeah,
So
hopefully.
coming back to you, how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing gospel music for a very long time, but I launched myself in 2014.
So 3 years back.
Yes, 3 years back with my first album.
You said you've been doing it for a very long time.
Yes.
What was the genesis?
I've been doing gospel music or singing gospel music since I got born again.
Okay.
And I got born again when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, back in Nigeria in a
Okay.
church called Deeper Life. I don't know, those of us who
Pastor
know Deeper
Kumu.
Life Church. Yeah, I was in secondary school when I got born again, and right from then I've been doing gospel music. I've always known I want to do gospel music.
So what is it, something that runs in your family, or is it something you picked after someone in church?
I wouldn't say I picked after someone in church, because growing up,
Yeah.
I grew up around so much music. My dad had a record store in the 80s
Okay.
in a place called Ikeja. Those of us who are listening who are Nigerians, you know where Ikeja is.
Definitely.
My dad had a record store in the 80s, and aside having a record store, he managed lots of artists in the 80s. People like Felix Liberty, Sonny Okosun, and a few other artists from Cameroon, Ghana, and so on. Yeah. So having grown up around music.
Is your dad a pure Nigerian?
Yeah, he's pure Nigerian.
Okay, when you mentioned Cameroon and Ghana.
He's
Okay.
pure Nigerian. So having grown up around so much music, listening to music every day, it created the thirst, the
passion.
hunger, the passion to do music. And I remember those days when we were little, my daddy drives us to school. When
Okay.
he's driving us to school, he's always playing music.
Okay.
Then, as a little girl, I could sing all, in his blessed memory, he died recently, Don Williams.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah, my dad loves Don Williams so much. So he
Country
plays,
music?
yes, country music. He plays a lot. He played a lot of Don Williams back in the day, and also Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
So I could sing most of them songs as a little girl.
from the beginning to
From
the end.
yeah, yes, I could sing them. You know, so that really formed the passion for music. But as I grew older, and in the course of growing older, I got born again at 13 years old. I knew I wanted to do gospel music, so I had to.
Why gospel music in particular? You listen to Don Williams,
Yeah.
all those veteran and legends.
Yes.
Some of them still living, some have passed on, some of blessed memory.
Yeah.
Why not in their own lane?
Okay.
Why deviated?
Okay, I deviated because I got born again,
Okay,
and I wanted to do things in the way of the Lord,
Okay.
things to please God.
okay,
Okay, I remember that when I got born again, it wasn't easy, but the Lord saw me through. In the church then, I led praise worship, you know, in the deeper lifestyle.
okay.
And yeah, but, you know, from then the Lord started speaking to me that he wants me to do gospel music. as opposed to doing secular music.
Okay.
I know a lot of people, when they look at me, they're like, Sophie, why are you doing gospel music? I remember I went to Nigeria in 2014 to launch my album.
Okay.
After I did the launch here in London, I went to Nigeria to do another launch. And then I met up with some secular artists who, heard I was coming and so on and so forth. And they were like, oh, so, Sophie, what kind of music do you do? I said, I do R&B, hip-hop, gospel. Their face dropped.
Okay.
They're like, gospel? Let me say it in pidgin English. They were like, we thought this thing, gospel you they do. We thought this, sis, why now? I just smiled. They wouldn't understand because when I got born again, I was severely persecuted for 8 years.
By who?
By my parents. Because my parents were not born again then. Okay. I was severely
but
persecuted.
They go to church?
At some point, they were going to church, but they stopped.
Okay.
So I was severely persecuted for 8 years. At the point I was stopped from going to school, my uniform was burnt, all my books were burnt.
By your parents?
By
your
parents.
Biological parents?
Yes.
Not adopted parents?
Oh, my parents.
Not big auntie?
Not big auntie, not small auntie. By my parents.
For going to church?
For going to church, for becoming born again. Actually, I got born again in the 80s. If you remember, in the 80s, most apologies to Igbos who are listening, is not to say bad things about us. I'm Igbo, but in the 80s, lots of Igbo men were into occult. There were lots of occultic men who were Igbos. My dad was one of them. So he didn't want anything church in his house. He doesn't want anything Bible in his house. Doesn't even want to say tract. So what I did...
Despite the fact that he was a successful music promoter or...
Yeah, but he didn't promote gospel music. It was secular music. So, those days I had a bag where I put all my Christian stuff.
Okay.
My Christian resources, all my Christian books, Bible, tracts, everything. And I keep it in a friend's house.
In a friend's house?
Yes, I keep it in a friend's house. So when my dad is not home, I get my stuff, I do my quiet time, I read my Bible, I go out for evangelism.
But a friend who was helping you to keep those stuff at that particular time, wasn't she bothered that why bringing them to my house and not keeping them in your own personal house?
Was she bothered? She wasn't really bothered because she knew the things I was going through. Okay. She's elderly. She's and not a young girl like me.
Despite all you were going through at that particular time, you refused to relent your efforts?
Oh, no, I refuse. I refuse. The Bible says that he that puts his hands on the plow and looks back is not fit for the kingdom. That is what the Bible says.
To every ladies listening at this very hour, or if you are a young man listening, or you are a young adult listening to us at this hour, she's a lady. I'm not going to say narrating what she went through. She's sharing her experience.
Exactly.
If she was able to scale through it without looking back as a young lady, I don't think it cost any one of us anything to be as bold and strong as she was then. Do you still have your parents around now?
Yeah, of course. We serve a God that answers by fire. Hallelujah. We serve an amazing God. Back then, during my persecution, I was praying for God to touch my dad, pray. Back then, we used to write prayer requests.
Okay.
But that has gone out of the church these days. We write prayer requests, we put it at the altar, and then whoever is leading prayers, take them out, read them, and then we'll pray.
Pray upon them.
So I always put in the prayer bucket my father, my family, and everybody should become born again and all that. And the more I do those prayers, or we pray those prayers, the worse my persecution got. So I was confused. At that point, my father disowned me for almost like 3 years. He was not talking to me. When I greet him, he doesn't even answer me. For like 3 years, yeah. And then one of the days, there's this lady who lived just opposite us. She goes to Deeper Life there. I call her Auntie Ebere. So
and you live underneath the same roof with your dad.
Yeah.
And when you greet him, he doesn't answer.
He doesn't answer.
At that time, your school had actually stopped?
Yes, and he looks for every slightest thing to beat me. When I say beat, it's not just like that. Those
Spanking
of us watching
like
live, it's not like that. Proper beating. I still have some of the marks on my body, even as a grown woman now. I still have the mark. Okay, one of the days like that, I was actually sent out of the house at 12 midnight.
If I may ask you, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
how old were you around that particular?
I was 13. I was sent out of the house when I was 13 years old. Without shoes, without slippers.
What was your mom
walked.
saying to your dad then?
Igbo women are extremely submissive.
I'm not going to dispute
So-
that. Because my growing up, we used to have this Igbo neighbor. Anytime the wife misbehaves to the husband or the woman offended the husband, do you know what the husband will do? He's going at about between 12 and 1 a.m. midnight. He's going to take out their youngest child and he's going to hold him or her upside down and he's going to hold it. They call it cutlass in Hebrew accent. Cutlass, or they call it machete.
Yeah, machete, yeah.
That's what they call it. And everyone will be on their knees begging this man not to machete this little child. But the wife will not say anything. The only thing she will say, help me beg him. Help me beg Baba Chinyere. Help me beg Baba Chinyere. I remember that very, 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 very well.
So, I was sent out that night. I was not with slippers. I wasn't with shoes. And I walked barefooted to a brother's house, Brother Rotimi. I don't know where that brother is now. He's a deeper life brother. I walked to his house. And then when I got there around, I think 1 midnight. When I got there, I was like, Sister Sophie, what are you doing here? I was crying. I said, my father sent me out of the house, blah, 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 because I'm born again and all that. And he said, oh, come in. So when I went into his house, he prayed with me. He said, okay, sleep in the sitting room. In the morning, you have to go back home, go and beg and all that. So he asked me, have you eaten? I said, no, I hadn't eaten. He gave me Coke and bread. No, 7-Up and bread. I had that, then I slept. So in the morning, around 6 a.m., he woke me up.
Can we play one of our tracks? I could see emotion overpowering that. Can we play one of our tracks? Let's play one of our tracks and see, and we will allow her. Like I always tell our viewers and our listeners that every Wednesday can never be the same. Here we are. On this particular Wednesday, this story she's saying, I'm meant to be interviewing her, but fair enough, I particularly asked the question that is bringing stuff out. I don't bring her here to bring out her emotions. She's just trying to explain to us how she launched into gospel music. Yeah. But before we come back to that, let's hear one of her tracks from her album.
The next one. Yes, that one.
With the time standing at about 25 minutes past the hour of 6 p.m. We're still live in the studio of Naija 101.1 FM. Don't forget, like I always say it, I am Beke Lolua. And sitting next to me is this beautiful, I'm not sure if I should say young woman, who is so passionate about God, who had actually went through a whole lot just to take her out of the presence of our Creator. But she has remained so adamant that whatever comes my way, like that song say, that she's not going to leave. For those of you that are not able to watch me on Facebook, you can switch over onto our Instagram page, Gospel Vibes UK. You will see us live and direct. Or better still, you can listen to us on TuneIn. Just search for Naija FM UK. You will be with us live and direct. This is such one of those beautiful interviews that you don't want to miss. I promise you, it is something you have to listen and listen to over again. Now, coming back to you, Sister Sophi-Yah, when they now realize, apart from being born again, that you're actually venturing into singing for that God that they don't want you to go close to, what now happened?
Well, I made up my mind to do gospel music,
okay,
and to sing for God.
Okay.
Like I was saying before about my persecution. The good thing is, we serve a God who answers prayers.
Definitely.
We serve a God who, sometimes you think he's sleeping, you think he can't hear you when you're praying, but he's hearing you.
But don't forget what the Bible said, that 1,000 to we human being, 1,000 days to we human
like
being. It's just
day.
like one day
That's
to our
right.
Creator.
And then the Bible says that God makes all things beautiful in His time.
Definitely.
The Bible says there's time
For everything.
For everything, a time and season for everything. This God we serve, at the right time, He touched my father. My dad is a pastor today.
You must be joking.
I'm not joking.
The father that burnt your clothes,
yes.
that stopped you from...
I didn't even finish the testimony.
Okay, carry on.
When I left Brother Rotimi's house, I went back to the house in the morning. They wouldn't allow me to go in. For 6 days, I was sleeping outside in the cold, on a staircase, open staircase. I slept there. I was wearing one dress for six
if I may ask
6
you,
nights.
That's how, is it your parents' personal property, or
No,
a
it's not
rented apartment?
It was a rented apartment.
Where there are so many tenants?
Not so many tenants, because they were flats.
Okay.
So, but there was an open staircase at the back. So that's where I normally sleep. I just go to the staircase, I coil on the staircase, and I sleep.
Being a lady, your mom wasn't bothered about you at that time?
Of course she was bothered.
But she
like
was not bold enough to confront your dad.
She does not.
Don't you have male siblings?
I've got male siblings, but they are younger.
Okay.
I'm the eldest and the oldest.
To every parent listening, ask yourself, does it worth it losing a child because she became born again?
Exactly.
Not even a child. I have uncountable friends, male friends, who cannot even stand the killing of a chicken. I've had one confronted me one day that, why are you so hardened? And I'm like, why? You just kill the chicken like that? Not to talk of your own biological daughter. Do you flash back and remember when she was a toddler, when you were carrying her in your arms? Just because she said she wanted to serve Jesus, you stopped her from schooling.
Yeah, my uniform was burnt, my books was burnt.
At that time, how do you cope when you see your peers, your classmates? What do you tell them?
Some of my classmates, they came to see me, and some people from the fellowship came to see me as well. And they were like, Sophie, what's happening? I said, well, Bible says any mother is in Christ to suffer persecution. I'm going through my own share of persecution. That's what I said to them.
And at that time, the person that pastors the church you were attending then, what was his or her response?
Like I said, I was in deeper life then. They did what they could. I was saying the other time that there's this lady called, I call her Auntie Berry. She lived opposite us. She goes to deeper life as well. When, in the heat of all this, my parents went to her house to fight her and her family. It was serious. The whole street was in...
But don't you have anyone you can at least walk to, maybe your family, to report your dad to at that time?
No, my dad is the eldest son. in the family.
All the Igbo schedule, all them
So there was really no one I could. There was no one I could report to. Then on this 6th day now, that was when the fight broke out between my parents and Auntie Ebere. Yes, Sister Ebere, but I call her Auntie Ebere.
Are you still in touch with Auntie Ebere now?
No. So after that fight, everybody on the streets, they were now saying to me, "You are a devil. You this child. Look at what you've caused. You look at what you've caused. Yeah, the Bible says you should obey your parents. What is even this born again? Is this new religion that is everywhere now? What is even this born again?" I was crying.
But could it have been a different story if you have went or gone to another church rather than Deeper Life?
I don't think so. It's
because
the
you
same.
know, then we have this notation about Deeper Life.
I will come to that.
Okay, then.
It's still the same. So there's this older man who lives just close to us. We call him Babarita those days. He now said
from
to
Brother
me,
Rotimi to Auntie Ebere, now to Babarita.
Okay. Yeah. So Babarita now said, Chi, because they call me Chi, what is this born again thing? Look at what you've caused now. Okay, you know what? I'll take you in to your parents' house and I'll beg your dad on your behalf. At least, hopefully, he would forgive you and take you in and blah blah blah. And I said, okay. So I was crying at this point, and then he took me inside. And then my dad was seated on the center table. We had a big sitting room. We sat on the center table. And the man now said, Papachi, she's a little girl. Forgive her for whatever thing she has done. She doesn't understand what she's doing. She's a small girl. It's all this church people brainwashing children and all that. Just forgive her. My dad now said to him, he said, don't worry. I will deal with her in my own way. Hey, I knew what that meant. Oh my God. So when the man was about to leave, I held on to his leg. When he was leaving, I held him so tight because I knew I was dead that night. So my dad dragged me back and then he slammed the door. He now asked me to kneel down. I knelt down in front of him. I was crying serious at this time. And I said, you this child, what kind of a child are you? Is Jesus Christ a printer? Did he print the Bible? I'm saying he's not a printer, but you wrote that. Shut up! I didn't know my dad had already bought twine to tie me up. So he tied my 2 hands, tied my 2 legs. Back in the day, we used to have this area for television, and there's this wire on area that is very thick. So that wire, there's the black one. The black one, my dad now took this wire, folded it into 2 and tied it. It was as big as this, my fist. That was what he used to flog me that night. Tied both hands and legs. He flogged and flogged. My body was torn. These days, I wonder how all the scars on my body cleared. I had so much scars on my body. This my neck, my back, everywhere. He flogged me so much that night. There was so much blood, and I slept like that till morning, like this.
And the following day, you still went.
And then the following day, so before he left me, when he finished flogging me, he carried me with the rope and threw me to one side of the sitting room. So that was why I was like that, with blood all over my face, everywhere. I was crying, and he now said I would sleep like that till morning. So I slept like that till morning. So in the morning, he now said, no, in the morning, I was already awake. I was hearing him and my mom talking, and my mom was saying, please now, what has this girl done? And I said, shut up. I just closed my eyes very tight, so they don't know I'm awake. But he now used the same wire to pop. And I just spoke, Daddy, good morning, sir. Good morning. You see, you this disobedient child, you will be like this. You will stay in this position till I go to work and come back. I started crying. The whole people on the street came to our house that morning. They were begging my dad, Papachi, please leave her. Lose this girl. She's a small girl. Look at blood all over her body. Please forgive her. My dad said, no. She would stay in that position till I go and come back. She's disobedient. She's this. Let her go and meet Jesus. Let Jesus come and save her. Hey. Then there's this woman. I heard she's dead now. Mama Wale. My dad now went to his car. He was about to drive off. Trust me. Mama Wale on her knees followed my dad to his car. I was saying, Papachi, she's a small girl. Please forgive her.
Let me ask you. Your dad has become a pastor now.
Yeah.
And seeing you now, what's the relationship?
He's trying to make up for those years. Because, like I said, it was for 8 years. Solid persecution.
Your school stopped.
My school stopped then. Afterwards, I started school again. And the persecutions continued. This arm was broken. I was like that.
To those of you listening, this is very beautiful and interesting as a person interview for me. This is the very first time I've seen people being persecuted because they became born again. I've seen people being disowned. I've seen parents stand and stood on their feet. I'm not going to attend your wedding if you refuse to change what you refer to as being born again, or if you went ahead or go ahead to marry that born again husband or born again wife. But I have not heard of anyone being treated the way you were telling us your dad treated you.
Yeah.
So how long ago did he become a pastor?
He became a pastor in what year was that now? 1999.
In what church? Deeper Life again?
No, it wasn't Deeper Life. It wasn't Deeper Life.
You know what? For those of you for those of you watching to actually know that she can actually sing, I'm going to ask her to raise her voice to sing a song of her choice.
Okay. Oh, hail the power of Jesus' name. Let angels prostrate fall. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord of all. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord of all.
Now, let's leave your dad's story to one side.
Okay.
Being a singer, with all you went through, you still remain there. I know it comes with a whole lot of time. What is that major thing that made you forget all those things?
It's God in me. I mean, when you're in Christ, Jesus Christ preached forgiveness
Okay.
when he was on earth. If you read through the Bible, it talks about forgiveness. I have forgiven my dad, and so I have to move on with life.
I could see that tears of joy rolling out of our eyes. With the time at about 22 minutes before 7 p.m. There's this beautiful comment that says, "Wow, what a touching story. Thank God for your life, sister, and for his gift that he has blessed you with. May you continue to be a vessel unto honor. More grace, sis." That from one of our faithful followers.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Singing, as a person, I believe it is a talent.
Yeah.
If there is any major talent I wish I had, it's to be able to do what you are doing. But unfortunately, God in his infinite mercy has decided not to give me. But I'm not worried.
He would have blessed you in another area.
I know I have something which... Now, being a gift, the Bible made us understand that your gift will make way for you.
That's right.
Despite all you went through, you didn't relent your efforts. Where majorly do you think you would not have been able to step to your feet upon if not for the gift deposited inside of you?
I think some of the men of God I've met,
Okay.
if not for the gift of God in me, I don't think I would have met them. And then people who contact me, just like you did, on a daily basis. People contact me from America, from all over the world. I have a very large fan base.
Someone sent me a WhatsApp today, and the question was, how do you know her? Where do you know her from? Why are you asking? He said, I'm a big fan. And this is someone I've never met. He said, I'm a big fan of her. And I'm okay, I will tell her when she come
praise God.
on board on the show.
Thank
and
you
going
so
through
much.
your Facebook page, I guess you were into few things apart from singing.
Yeah.
Are you into promotion?
Yes, I'm into promotion.
Okay, so
yeah.
give us a clip.
I do promotion. I promote my work majorly by myself. I have people who work with me as well.
Okay.
I've just launched a promotion company. It's called New Dimension Artist Services.
Okay.
You can check the website for artists who want their work to be out there.
Okay.
Who needs promotion in all ramification.
Okay.
We are out there to help. Yeah. And also for those people who can sing, or you have a child who can sing and you don't know what to do, you don't even know where to get a studio, you don't have a clue of where to start, contact us and we will put you through. We have different packages online when you check.
Are the prices there online?
No, you need to come for consultation and then we will talk.
So do you do voice training?
I do voice training as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I do voice training. That comes in a package when you buy a package from us, which could be a basic package, a premium, gold, platinum, and all those packages come with a recording as well. Now,
I know you were married.
Yes, I am.
So, when you narrated this story to your husband to be at that time, how you went through from your dad?
You see, when I told him, he hated my dad instantly. I'm gonna be truthful. I said, what's wrong with you? Why are you? He said, why will he? I said, he's born again now. Yeah, he was in the days of ignorance. He was not born again then. He was being used by the devil to. And you know the good thing, I was the first person to become born again. The whole of my family. We have lots of pastors in my family now. Evangelists, teachers, and all sorts.
So you paved the way.
I paved the way by the grace of God.
Here is another beautiful comment. It says, thank God for who He is, for the salvation of your life and your father. Continue to work stronger in His vineyard. Greetings to you, sir, and the crew. That's another one. Well,
thank you.
So you've actually, I know it's a beautiful story, to be honest with you. Hearing the story you are narrating to me now and to everyone watching and listening, looking at your face, seeing the emotions and the tears rolling out, it goes a long way for me. It's kind of a challenge that if a lady could stand, or should I say stood on her feet, that you know what, whatever you do, this is not going to take me out of what I believe in.
In fact, the more the persecution, the stronger my faith. Then I was preaching in Molue in Nigeria. I preached in buses. I preached everywhere. Yeah. In fact, on Molue, those of us who know what Molue is.
I know Molue. Oh, wow.
Yeah. On Molue, I hold a church service. I start with opening prayer. I do praise and worship. I preach and I lead people to Christ. I have lots of, by God's grace, children of God who are pastors today, who have their own churches. Yeah, I might not look it, but yeah, I have good spiritual sons and daughters who have their own ministries.
Coming back to you, despite all you went through, I know when it comes to talent, it was after the persecution from your father that you decided you want to go into music. Now, finding out that, okay, I tried to stop her from going to church, she refused. When he now realizes you were going into gospel music, what was his response? Or at that time,
he was already born again now. He was already born again by then.
Was fully
and I was already an adult, so I could make my decisions. Yeah, I was already an adult. In fact, my album launch in Nigeria, he was there. We took pictures. You know, he was so proud. He was happy. He spoke.
What about mom?
Yeah, same thing with my mom.
And your siblings?
Everybody.
Did any one of them flash him or flash you back that sis?
Yeah, they remember. They remember. Oh, like our last born. Because, like I said, at a point, my dad, one morning like that, he woke us up, woke everyone up. And then he said, we're going to have a family meeting. And then at this family meeting, he asked me to sit separately. I sat somewhere there, and he asked all my siblings. We're 7. You know, Igbos, they have plenty of children.
They always have plenty children. And they're always happy when they have girls.
And I'm the first. So he asked all my other siblings to sit on this side. Then he sat there with them as well. And then he said to all of them, he said, well, why I've called this meeting this morning is to let all of you know that I've disowned this your sister. Then he now said, turned to me, he said, you see, from today, any church you like, you go. If you want to go to Celesef, you want to Keruba and say, I don't even care. Just go to anywhere you want to go. But you see, this my children. Any day you take any of them to church, I will kill you. You know, he's talked and talked and talked that morning, you know, and then we finished the meeting. Then one of the days I was getting ready to go to church. By then I had left Deeper Life. I was going to Anglican church because one of the things he was saying is, oh, let her go to her mother church, the family church, which is Anglican church. And thankfully then we had what is called EFAC in Anglican church. Evangelical Fellowship in Anglican Communion. They were like Deeper Life. So I was like, oh, praise God. So when I joined them, I was like 16 then. I was a Bible study teacher. I was a Bible study teacher at 16 years old. So one of these days when I was getting ready to go to church, my brother now said to me, the first son in the family, said to me, oh, I'd like to come with you to church. I'm like, eh?
I've already been praying once.
You know what my daddy said? You know what daddy said? You can't follow me. You know, he was begging me. I said, okay, go and get ready. I know I'm dead this night anyway, but no problem. So he got ready. We went to church. So he joined the believers class. Then I took, because we use outline. So they gave him the outline for my class. I went to my class, you know, did the teaching, Bible study teaching with my students then. And then when we finished, on our way home, I was like, I was not saying that. I said, Solomon,
you are meditating.
I'm sure that Daddy and Mommy are back now. You know I'm in trouble. So the place we live is such that when there's a hill descending like that.
Okay.
So if you're on top of the hill, you
They
can
will have
see
seen
you see our building. So if
they are on the balcony.
Yeah. So when I looked, I saw that the light in my dad's room was on. And the AC was on. Like,
the final whistle.
God, my brother just ran away. He just disappeared. And our house is such that when you press the bell, everybody upstairs know that someone is downstairs. I just said, it's beating now, Abi. What can I do? You beat and beat me again. So I just went. I pressed the bell. My immediate junior came down, Joy. Joy is one of my converts as well. My immediate junior, she's a pastor in Ghana. She has her own church. And she came and said, hey, you're just coming back. Hi, auntie, you are dead today. Oh, hey, you are, in fact, you are dead.
Did she say it in Pidgin or in Igbo?
She was saying it in Igbo.
Say it the way she said it in Igbo.
This is it. That will kill you today. I'm like, I know you will beat me now. It's the normal thing. I just said, leave me. So I went upstairs. So I went to the kitchen because my mom was about to cook. And then when I was in the kitchen, I now heard my dad's voice saying, where is that girl? He came with this big stick on my head. Bam! I just fell down. I fell on the floor of the kitchen. He started using the stick to hit me, and the stick broke into 2. Because we were in the kitchen, my daddy took the pestle, Omori Odo. When he used that thing to hit me, I passed out. I collapsed.
Someone is saying your gift will make room for you.
Amen.
The good Lord is your strength.
Amen. Amen.
Great and encouraging testimony. God bless you, man.
Amen.
More grace and strength in the journey of life.
Amen.
You won't fail heaven in Jesus Christ's name.
Amen.
Thank you very much for all those beautiful comments coming in.
Amen. So he now took the pestle. When he hit me, with it, I just collapsed. I passed out. So, but as I passed out, and I was not hearing my junior sister, her name is Ebere. She was not shouting, do you want to kill her? Do you want to kill her? All my juniors, they all started crying that she's dead. You've killed her. You've killed her. Because there was now blood, you know. My mom now collected the pestle from him, and everybody was just crying. You've killed her. You've killed her. You've killed her. And then after a while, even at that, even though they were saying you've killed her, he now took the spoon we used to take soup. You know the kind of spoon in Naija, when you bend it, it will not break. That kind of spoon. He used it. I still have a mark on my leg here from that spoon. Used that on me. And then my mom now held it and said, leave this girl alone. What has this girl done? This girl is not chasing men. She's born again. She's this. What do you want? Leave this girl alone. They were all crying that night, you know. And then he now left. So my sister now came to me. She now held me. She was crying. She was crying, you know. That's our last girl, Ebere, Rebecca. She was saying, auntie, auntie, auntie. I now opened my eyes. She was like, oh, thank God. She now said, will I be able to get up? I couldn't get up, so they now held me. When I got up, I was limping. So I now asked them, where's Solomon, which is my brother which ran away. Who ran away. And I now said, where's Solomon? They said, he has not come back. Oh. And by then it was like 2 a.m. I'm like, no, I have to go and look for him. So I now went downstairs. I was looking for him. And now the Holy Spirit just said to me, go to your friend's house. They are Christians as well, Uduak. Just the house is just beside the house. And I went to Uduak's house. He was there. So my Uduak now said, hey, Sophie, I now understand what you're saying. Look at your body, look at blood. They were all just shouting. Her mom. I said, no, don't shout, don't shout. It's okay, I'm used to it. Solomon, what are you doing here? Come on, let's go. He said, I can't go, I can't. I said, no. I said, no, you have to go. Let's go. Don't worry. Daddy will forgive you. It's me, he's after. So, let's go. And truly, he forgave you. He said, next time, if you did it there, if you follow your sister anywhere, I will kill you. Did you see what I did to her? And he didn't touch him.
If there is anything I wish it's happening now, is that your dad is listening to this testimony. Or maybe people that you ran into their house at that particular time, perhaps any one of them is listening to this particular testimony at this hour. Seeing you, like I said earlier on, I know there were tears of joy, but for you to be very emotional to that point, that those tears are flowing, it goes a long way. Let's listen to this beautiful piece from her. If I may ask you, what's the title of that particular track we were listening to?
That track is titled God Can.
From which album?
The album is God Can. It's
God Can.
Yes.
And the track is?
God Can.
So the album is actually named after that particular track.
Yes.
How many albums have you produced?
One at the moment, but I've released lots of singles after then. And by God's grace, I'm trusting God to release an album next year.
Next year.
First quarter of next year, by His grace.
For everyone or people that are listening at this hour that would like to get in touch or bring you for any particular event or program in their church, what's the best way to contact you?
Best way to contact me is give me a call.
Okay.
On my phone. My number is 079-5690-1825.
Can you repeat the number?
Okay, number is 079-5690-1825. Or better still, you can contact me on social media. On Instagram, my handle is Sophy_Yah. That's SOPHY_YAH.
Okay.
And on Twitter, it's the same thing at Sophy-Yah. SOPHY_YAH. And also on Facebook is Sophi-Yah Omotosho. So you can contact me.
So you are married to a Yoruba man.
Yoruba man. So you can contact me at any of those places.
We have enough things to talk about, but unfortunately, trust me, we don't have enough time. There is a promise here. Don't forget, 2 Wednesdays can never be the same. From myself, Bekelulu, I am promising you, I am bringing her back. When precisely, I am not 100% sure, because I have loads and loads of questions to ask her, but we were not able to, because our testimony took most of our time. But it's good enough. There's a kind of testimony that inspires people, that encourages people that may be at the verge of backsliding, maybe because they are going through a particular thing and they wanted to give up. Hearing your own personal testimony, to me, I see it as something that inspires me. If a lady can do this, how much more me, this young man? If I put in effort, I will definitely do. So just before we round up, I would like you to raise up your voice once again. Any song of your choice, while we say bye-bye to everyone that have actually logged in and that have actually listened to us now. So over to you.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not thy compassion, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, the mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand has always provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Great is his faithfulness. What else can I say than to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you that have logged in. For those of you that actually listen to us through TuneIn, through the radio frequency. For those of you that watched us on Instagram and Facebook, I am saying a very, 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 very big thank you to you. Watch out, she's coming back again because she has an unfinished business. Yeah, we are not able to finish our interview today, but I will let you know when next is coming. From myself, see you next Wednesday.